Hi, this is Diane Paragas. I'm the writer and director of Yellow Rose, and you're watching Asian Magazine.
So I just want to start with like the development process. How did you create the story of Yellow Rose, and what was your inspiration behind it?
Well, it was definitely, to be honest, someone who, a good friend of mine is an actor, and I was sort of wanting to develop a screenplay a long time ago. And he had suggested that I write about my childhood because he thought it was interesting that I was Filipino growing up in a small town in Texas. He's like, that's just such an interesting start of a story. And so I was like, who wants to hear about my story? But when I thought about it more, I thought if, even though I played music as a teenager, I thought instead of sort of echoing exactly my story where I couldn't wait to get out and move to New York City where I live now, what if this character was desperate to stay, was loved where she came from and had this deep connection to it through country music? And then when I kind of thought of that, it felt to me like a great metaphor and ultimately an indictment of the American dream. In that here's this person who loves country music, which is one of the most American things you could love, and it sort of rejects her. And then the world rejects her and the government rejects her, and she has to sort of fight to have her place.
And I think there's a lot to say about like Filipinos in Texas, which isn't very common. I grew up in Texas too for like 4 years of high school.
No way!
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Throughout this film coming out, there's a lot of Filipino Texans.
Yeah.
And if not that, there's a lot of people who love country music too, who are Filipino. So I think when you tell a specific story, it's amazing how not specific it is or how much it touches people.
Go quietly into the light, and I'll sing to the light of day.
So that was you.
I didn't love country. I think I listened to a few country things, but I was more like punk rock and alt stuff, and I had a band in high school, and I shaved the side of my head, and I was definitely that kind of thing. But in the course of researching and ultimately writing the music for the film, yes, she's in the film. Her name's Sophie. She's also you're in Yellow Rose, right, Sophie?
Oh, you're the little girl.
You're the little girl.
Oh.
So I guess she's okay to be here.
Okay. And can you talk about the casting process? You have 2 Miss Saigons in there.
Yes.
How was that? How did that come about?
Well, I think Eva was someone I had known about after she had gotten cast to play Kim in the revival of Miss Saigon. So I was tracking her career, but we had shot a short film to sort of raise money for the film, like a proof of concept, and she had just been cast. So I was sort of waiting for her, but by the time we got the money together to make the feature, which was years later, luckily she was coming off of the show was ending on Broadway. So I sent her the script and she read it, and I went finally to see her on stage and had dinner with her after her performance, and she just blew me away, gave her the part on the spot. And I had been looking and auditioning so many young women for the part for years, and once I saw her on stage, I kind of knew she was the one. The same summer that I met Eva, Leia had happened to also be on Broadway in Once This Island, and so I also sent her the script like maybe weeks later, and ended up meeting with her in a restaurant after her performance, and luckily she also said yes. So it was kind of a 1-2 punch, and then we had our two Kims. And it's not just, I think it was just very important for me to have Leia in there because she was one of the only Filipinos I knew when I was growing up. And then to have her be a Disney princess, and it's just she's such an important figure to the Filipino community. Just to have her in the film, even though it's a relatively small role, was really, really important to me. And I think Leia felt it was an important thing for her to do for the community as well, because she hadn't made a movie in over 20 years from the time, the last film she was in was 20 years before, 24 years, I think. Very honored that she sort of came back into it. But I hope she does more films now that she's kind of got back into the swing of it. She's such a great actress.
It was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I also want to shout out the great Princess Punzalan, who is an incredible actress too, and who had been doing movies in the Philippines, but I think this is really her introduction to the American audiences, because she's very beloved in the Philippines. So I'm also quite honored to have her in the film.
Yeah, I grew up watching her too when I was living there as a kid. Yeah, so when I saw that, I was like, Leia and Princess, I was like, that's amazing.
I know. And then Eva, who is such a movie star. You know, I'm a little bit disappointed the film people haven't recognized more Eva's performance. I really think it is Oscar worthy. And, you know, we'll see, but, you know, I just think she's so incredible. But we'll be seeing her in more films. She's just such a talent.
You were first crafting this story. Did you think the reception was going to be what it is, like now being consideration for awards season?
No, you never really know. I think I was just happy that people didn't hate it. You know, I remember opening night at the LA Asian Film Festival. They had literally rolled out the yellow carpet. They had a big yellow carpet, and all the paparazzi came out, and kind of all of Filipino Hollywood came out to watch the film. And at the end of it, during it, I started behind stage, then I went to the back of the room, and I just was like, I couldn't do it. So then I ended up like watching it like in a ball behind the screen, you know, just like almost like people hate it. I was waiting for people to laugh or cry, and it was very hard to tell. But at the end of it, we got a standing ovation, and we ultimately won the grand jury prize, and then it started winning more awards. And really, you don't really know what you have until you share it with an audience. And just the types of audiences that we showed it to, not just Filipinos, but people in the heartland of America and Canada, and it's been shown in Mexico and Australia and the UK and all over the world. And there seems to be a real universal message, because people, you know, I get so many beautiful messages from people that feel moved by the film. Whether they feel seen or whether people never thought of what it would be like to be an undocumented person or just a Filipino teenager living in America in general. So I'm so happy that it's resonated mostly with the audiences. That's what means the most to me.
And just my last question is, what is your message for non-Filipinos who are watching this?
I hope, you know, they see a new kind of heroine. I hope that they think about what the reality is for so many families that are torn apart by a broken immigration system. I hope that they get a little bit of taste of Filipino culture and Filipino values and Filipino strength and perseverance and talent. And I hope they walk away singing some songs and thinking about the world that we live in.
I just wanted to say thank you, because like I saw the posters for Yellow Rose at like my local movie theaters.
Oh my God.
And I like took pictures, and I was like, that's so crazy.
Right? To just see a Filipino girl
Lead.
On a poster in a movie theater. Someone sent me a picture. The poster was next to Robert De Niro and Star Wars, and they were like, and there's Eva's face that has our nose and our skin color, and
yeah,
I was like, you know, it took me a very long time to make the film, and like seeing that picture, and it was just some Filipinos took a picture of themselves and posted it, and they looked so proud. I was like, okay, I did something good. I did something good. That picture meant so much to me, and I just am. It's an embarrassment of riches how many people write to me on a daily basis of how much this movie means to them. So I feel like I did all right.
It's on Amazon, right?
It's on Amazon, it's on Apple, and I just want to shout out to Apple. They put us on as the editor's choice last month for films to watch, along with we were selected as what we're watching, and they've been really, really supportive of the film. So if you have Apple, support them, because they've supported us. And also on Vudu and YouTube and anywhere you can kind of rent a movie, you can rent it there. We're also out on Blu-ray, and on DVD. And for those audience members that are in the Philippines, we are in the Philippines on iWant, on KTX, Signal pay-per-view, and Sky pay-per-view. So, is the yellow for Yellow Rose? Is that in honor of our film?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
also, yeah,
and People Power.
there's that too. So, well, then I'll let you go back to Sophie. So,
No
thank
problem.
you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you.